Ho, look at that. Hey, hey. Hey, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. Let me know. If you're in the chat, let us know who you are, where you're from. I got Amy on the mic.
Hi, guys. Welcome.
Welcome, welcome. This should be a fun hour here. We'll see. Got a lot to talk about, a lot to do. All right, I see Jennifer, Revo, Homer Lux. Mike, you have got a cool package on the way to you. It left yesterday. And I will get you all those measurements this afternoon. We just were swamped this morning, but congrats on that. You're going to be excited, I think, when you get that thing.
Myra's in the chat.
Hey, Myra's here. Hello, Myra. Kevin. Old Man River. I'm trying to remember. Who's Old Man River?
Revo.
Roman. I see Roman.
Yep.
Roman, I'm going to be using this today. If you want to post a link in the chat to your Facebook page, you're welcome to. I always try to tell people where to get them, but then I forget. All right. So, I think we're good to go, get started. So I just want to say hello, everyone. Chad from Turner's Warehouse. It's been a while. It's been a weird couple of weeks. Why are you laughing already?
Because it's been a really weird couple weeks.
I was going to post a little social media video and update everyone yesterday or today, and I didn't get to it, but I'll tell you guys. So, obviously it was busy leading up to Christmas like it is in retail, and we're no exception. So we were busy, and then was that 2 weeks before Christmas or a week before?
When we started feeling the crud?
Yeah, it was the week before, right?
It was like the week of or the week before.
No, it was the week before because I missed 3 days. So the week before Christmas was on a Wednesday. On Sunday, we were watching a movie, and I was like, hey, what's this weird dot on my arm? And I had these dots, like what would you call them, rashes, dots? Like little splotches.
You had a rash.
A rash. And I was like, that's weird. And that was Sunday. And then Monday, I still had some rashes, and I didn't get into anything. I didn't know. And whatever, I came to work Monday.
Not feeling well.
I didn't feel 100%, but I didn't feel bad. But by Monday afternoon, after work, I was not feeling good. And I went home, and I went straight to bed, and I slept in a mountain of blankets, which is really unusual for me. And I got up the next morning and went to the doctor because I'm like, this is a weird rash on my arm, and I don't feel good. And turns out I had shingles. And I don't know if you've ever had shingles before. It's not very comfortable. So I didn't...
0 of 10. Do not recommend.
I felt fine a couple days later, but my arm just hurt and it burns. And I guess I had chicken pox as a kid, but I don't remember it because I was really little. But it's not a fun thing, so I don't recommend doing it. And they don't know how you get it, I guess. It's just in your body. If you had chicken pox, then you can just get it. So pretty much everyone I talk to now is like, oh, I've had that. It's horrible. And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty terrible. Because mine was weird. It was on the bottom of my arm here, and then it wrapped to my shoulder, and it stopped right here. So it was just contained to my arm. But once it started going away, I got whatever the meds are for it, and it started going away 4 or 5 days later. But man, you just want to scratch your skin off. It itches so bad and it burns. So not recommended. And while all this was going on, Dexter got sick and Amy got the flu. So we were quite a mess leading up to Christmas. So much that I don't even remember Christmas Day. I pretty much slept all day Christmas Day. But hopefully everyone else had a much better Christmas. Amy and I did nothing, and we slept all day. It was pretty crazy.
We watched some movies. That was pretty
We did
good.
watch some Christmas movies after Christmas, but that was, the next couple days. So it was a couple of weeks of real muddy, I don't even remember most of it because we were just sleeping and not feeling good. But thanks to everybody. We were real busy. Our crew which other than me and Amy is just 2 people, Mike and Carrie. Mike and Carrie rocked it and
Killed it.
took care of you guys. They had all your orders out like lickety split. So, you know, things carried on because we got such a cool crew here, and they rock. Just so everyone knows, because we just found out yesterday, tomorrow, Thursday, there's no mail because of Jimmy Carter's funeral. So we won't get a pickup or deliveries, and I guess no one will because the post office is closed. So we just found that out. So it's good to know, where we would have been calling the post office, where's our pickup? But anyway, that was a lot of talking for nothing, huh?
It's a day of mourning.
Day of mourning, yeah. So, but you can still place orders. We'll prep them. They'll be ready to go out Friday. They'll go out first thing Friday. So, lots going on, but not a lot going on at the same time. We've got a ton of new stuff coming. We've got new blanks, new kits, bowl blanks, all kinds of cool stuff, and it all is just happening at once. So we thought today would be a fun day to just turn a kit that's new with a new blank, or relatively new. We introduced it a few weeks ago, and show you a couple things. But I wanted to talk about this pile here because this represents a very small amount of bowl blanks we just got in from a local mill. These are, see, our problem with turning bowls is we didn't consistently have good sizes for bowls. So it's hard for us to like want to offer stuff if I only have 1 or 2 of a blank, you know. So we're working with a local mill, a couple of them now, and they are cutting these. And this, you can see, is really cool wood. This is Sisu, or East Indian rosewood. And this is a 6-inch by 3.5 bowl blank. It'll make a cool little bowl. We have it in Sisu, which is this, and we also have it in mesquite. And we're going to be getting a whole variety of sizes and species of wood. So here's another Sisu that's a 2x8 bowl. So this is like a shallow bowl or dish. Some of them have sapwood, some have more than others, some have none, some have a lot. So you never know what you'll get. Let's see if I grabbed any of those crazy ones. This stuff has crazy good grain, and it just looks so cool. But we will consistently have bowl blanks going forward and a variety of sizes. So if it's something you've been wanting to try, you know, they range in price. It's all by the board foot, and they're all kiln dried. So there's a lot of work goes into getting them to this point. They have to get cut down and hauled and milled and kiln dried, and then cut round, and then you take it from there. So exciting for us to have bowl blanks because we've always wanted to have consistent sizes, and we should be there now. So if you ever want to try a bowl, this is going to be a good way to do it. We do have mesquite and Sisu right now, and then we'll be adding more species as they become available. Any questions on those? Let me get them out of the way.
Yes. So Scott's asking, he got some from Braxton a few years ago and he loved it.
Got
but
what?
he hasn't been able to get any Sisu.
Oh.
And they are kiln dried. They should be at 6%.
Yeah, they're about 6% moisture. They're kiln dried, so they're not gonna split on you or check any more than you see now, because some do have little checks in them, but that's kind of normal. But yeah, the kiln dried is nice because you can turn it, sand it, and finish it all in one go. And Sisu makes great pen blanks. I don't think I'd cut up a bowl blank to make a pen, but if you wanted to, you could get a lot of pens out of that. So.
They would be pretty.
Yeah. How many people are in today?
We've got 45 right now.
I know we've been inconsistent, and what I'm going to say doesn't help that, but we are going to work to get more consistent every week. However, Amy and I will be out of town the last 2 Wednesdays of the month.
Yeah.
The last 2 Wednesdays of the month. We're going to be gone for like 10 days, and it goes over the 2 Wednesdays. So we will have a video for you guys those days, but we won't be live, so bear with us. After that, we should be good for a long time.
Hey, Chad, talk about the hardness of Sisu.
The hardness of Sisu. Sisu, you know, technically I don't know what it is on the hardness scale. You could Google that. Where does Sisu fall on the hardness? From turning a ton of it, because I've turned probably 50 or 60 bowls out of Sisu. I have some sitting right here. Um, well, oddly enough, here's a sisu. No, that might be acacia. Never mind. Here's a sisu platter. It's a hardwood, but it's not crazy like ironwood. Funny enough, it grows here. These are all local trees. It's not native here, I'm sure. But they plant it in neighborhoods in the Phoenix area for some reason. It grows really fast and nice. The problem with it is because they water it too much for a desert wood, a lot of times you'll get heartwood that's like this big and sapwood that's like this, which is no good. So we have to kind of be picky on the trees that have good heartwood. But it is a hardwood, but it turns nice. It's not like a crazy hardwood like ironwood or ebony or anything like that. It's more of the like nice hardwoods, which doesn't really answer the question because I don't know where it falls, but it's good wood.
Oh, Myra looked it up. Thanks, Myra. 9.5 on the hardness scale.
9.5 on the hardness scale, which I don't know what the hardness scale goes to, so take that.
Also, Myra turned a sisu bowl and cleaned it with denatured alcohol, and there was a little knot there, and then it bled maroon everywhere.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah. It's beautiful wood. When you put a finish on it, there's like, I was bringing those over here and I walked out in the sun and there's like purples and oranges. It's kind of like cocobolo, also a desert wood. You can get just crazy different tones. So one piece might be dark, one piece might be light, but then one piece might have orange and purple in it. So it's really cool because it's unpredictable. But I mean, you can kind of see with a bowl blank better than a pen blank how it goes. But back to what I was saying, we will be more consistent. Let me ask you guys, everybody who's in here, you know, we used to do 3 o'clock our time. Now we're doing 1 o'clock our time today, like today in the last few weeks or the last few live streams. Is 1 o'clock or 3 o'clock better? We wanted to ask everybody that's, you know, been on both if one is better than the other, because we're more West Coast, and I know a lot of people are watching East Coast or even overseas. So we thought maybe the earlier would be better, but let us know what you think. You can put it in there. Amy, you could put up a poll if you want.
Yep. Poll is up.
The poll is up. 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock. We just want to do what's best. We're not looking to change, but if 90% of the people are like, hey, 3 o'clock was better, we would do it because we want to keep it good for everyone. Last thing I wanted to say is, well, maybe 2 more things. Sorry. A lot of talking since we haven't been on in a while. We do have a event coming up in February.
Yes.
Go ahead, Amy.
It's February 7th and 8th. We're super jazzed about it. The 8th, if you pick one day to come to, like if you're driving across town or whatnot, the 8th will be a more fun day to come to because there will be more going on. But we are going to have a demo or 2 on the 7th, which is a Friday. And then the 8th will be open. We have Zach from Resinworks Studios coming, Kate from Bow and Harrow Workshop coming, which is exciting. Emily Ford from Utah is going to come down and do a hollowing demo, which I'm super jazzed about.
That'd be fun.
And then we have Jim Godoy from Cocoon Blinks is also coming over to do like a resin casting one. So we're going to try, and Zach told me that Zach's going to do 2 demos for us. He's going to do a casting demo on Friday and then a turning and finishing demo on Saturday, which is really exciting. And then those other 3 folks will also be on Saturday. And then we're going to have some vendors here doing some turning. The local club will be here doing some turning. We've got a carver that's going to be here selling some cool custom knives. Yeah, it's going to be cool. So that being said, we will be live streaming it. Mm-hmm. So for everybody who's not local, you totally can check out the demos. And you can catch them live on the YouTubes.
Yep. And if you've been here before, the demos are here in this little building, but then our parking lot out back, because our building has like a driveway out back that's pretty big, we'll have, I think, at least 3 lathes going out there the whole day being demonstrated. Rycon's going to be here demonstrating sharpening. I know I might be repeating some of Amy, but there'll be lathes going and carving demos. So even if you don't want to hear what's in this room at the time, there's going to be some cool stuff going all day. So it'll be a neat one.
And then Kevin's asking if we're going to AAW in June. We are not going to AAW in June. However, we are going to go to SWAT again in August. That'll probably be our only big show this year.
Yeah. Yeah, Amy said no AAW. It's just tough for us. We used to have a couple more employees, and employees have been tough to find ever since COVID. There's only 4 of us. So it's me and Amy, Mike and Carrie. That's it. So we do all the shipping, packing, videos, live streams, ordering, all the stuff. And it doesn't sound like that's a big deal, but I mean, you guys keep us busy, which we appreciate and we love. So we just, we're not doing a lot of shows just because the expenses have skyrocketed the last few years. What used to cost me $1,000 to go to a show by myself is now $2,500. So I mean, right off the bat, it's a huge expense, and then it's time away from the shop where I'm not doing what I should be for you guys. So it's a real tough thing for us to decide on. I just talked to Michael Harden this morning about his. I'd love to go, but I just can't. I just can't get away. We just don't have enough coverage for that. So.
Yeah. The other thing that I will say too that I didn't mention that we're very excited about it, Myra reminded me of it because she's going to sign up for a one-on-one with Zach, which Zach will have a few one-on-ones open while he's here. If you are local and you want to come take a class with Zach one-on-one, which is awesome, do some casting with him. But then also on the 9th, 10th, and the 11th, I think 10, 11, 12, whatever the Monday through Wednesday is following the main event on the Saturday the 8th, Emily Ford is going to teach a 3-day class.
Oh, yeah.
And it's only going to be open to 4 people. So if you're like, I know I'm going to want to do that, shoot me an email. I don't have all the specifics yet, but I'm hoping to drop the specifics and open up the class later this week or early next week. But the class, on one day you'll do tops, on the next day you'll do rattles, which she does captive ring rattles that are really cool. And then on the 3rd day you'll be making a hollow ornament. So that is going to be killer. And
Emily's a lot of fun.
She's so much fun.
She told me that she's like, I'm going to demo hollowing, but it can be a little boring. And I was like, I doubt anything she demonstrates will be boring. Because she's like a comedian and a wood turner in one.
She's so much fun.
So it's pretty great. I think you guys will have a lot of fun with her. That's good stuff. So if you guys are interested in any of that, let us know. You can always hit up Amy if you have questions. One last thing, and then we will get started. I am ordering sweatshirts for the crew here, and there's 6 of us on the periphery. But I'm ordering 12 sweatshirts, and I'm picking sizes, and we'll just have them, available. But if you want a Turner's Warehouse sweatshirt, it's going to have our patch on the back, and then it's going to have Turner's Warehouse on the front. Not this text, but a different text. I'm not marking them up much, like $5 to cover all the shipping and whatever. But if you want one, they're going to be about $50 because we're getting really good sweatshirts. They're zip-up hoodies. If you want one, let me know. I think we're going to have 4 or 5 that I'm going to order extra. And if somebody wants one, I can order your size specifically. So if you're interested in that, let me know. No pressure. I just thought I'd throw it out there.
Scott, that's hilarious. Oh, sorry.
Since I'm going to have them.
Scott, that's hilarious. He says, Scott Kershaw says, Bori and Emily have never existed together.
No,
That's totally true.
Emily's a hoot. She's
so much fun.
She cracks me up because she pushes the line of almost being inappropriate, but it's still hilarious. And then she catches herself and she's like, no, Emily, don't say things like that.
She's just super so funny. Animated. She's really fun. Also, shout out to Carrie. I don't know, Carrie and Mike, if you're over there listening, but we got a shout out for you. Big thank you to Carrie for great customer service. Yeah,
Carrie and Mike are awesome. They both do amazing customer service. So let's talk about what we're going to do today. I keep planning on stuff and then I just run out of time. But we are going to turn this pencil kit. This is a brand new pencil kit. I believe it's called the Everlasting Pencil. And it comes in gold, chrome, and gunmetal. You see here, if I can get under the camera, this is the gold. This is our new Deadhead blank. And this was kind of a reject because it had a lot of blue on one side, but I thought it would be awesome, and it really came out good. But the Deadhead blank is usually more mixed.
I got to go get a notepad. I'll be right back.
Yep, no problem. So this is our new Deadhead. It's very psychedelic. Amy has a cool fountain pen that I meant to bring today and I forgot, a custom pen in it. But that's our new Deadhead blank. This is one of our Choya. We have a variety of Choya. This is gunmetal. It looks killer. And this is the gunmetal pen, or the gunmetal pencil kit with the gunmetal resin Choya. So I may have said that backwards. But this pencil is really weird. They call it everlasting. This is supposed to last a long, long time. And you unscrew the tip and you can replace it when it isn't everlasting anymore. And we got colored pencils as well. So we have a 10-pack, and if they're not up yet, they'll be up soon, where you can get all different color pencil tips for this pencil. Has an eraser, but it's a really cool, fun pen kit. As soon as Carrie saw this, she's like, hey, I need one of those for work. So it's a really neat kit. Now today I want to turn this kaleidoscope. This is another new blank of ours, and it's a really killer blank. Several of you have already made these, and the pictures we get are just killer. It's got a really cool variety of colors and color shifts and things, and we will jump in there. I originally, when I gave Amy the picture for the thumbnail, I was like, oh, I'll do a whole bunch of different things, and then time just gets away from me. So we're going to start with one, and if we have time and you guys want to, we'll keep going. I got a bunch of stuff prepped, but we'll just see how it goes. Now, this is kind of a long blank, and I've been using, we have back in stock, if anyone's waiting, our TBC adapters. So I like to turn TBC. Obviously, they don't make every kit in TBC bushings, and we don't make them because we actually are going to be making our own again. Right now, we have TBC adapters up. They're from Jason over at Speakeasy. They're black, and we have those. And then we finally got our production. We used to make these solid stainless steel ones, and we had some machine difficulties, but we're going to be producing these again. So we do have TBC adapters in stock and a bunch of different bushings if you're looking for it. Now, one thing is, this is a really long blank, and I've always been really hesitant to turn TBC, especially with adapters, because then I'm making it even longer, with a long blank. And I don't know why that is. Just in my brain, I think that it's too extended. It probably doesn't matter, but we can see. What I'm afraid of is I'll get a little wobble.
Hey,
So let's check it out. Yeah.
I was writing down sizes because a bunch of people want sweatshirts, but can you show the lead tip again? People are asking about it.
Oh,
it's
the lead
not
tip?
like a size. It's,
You want to grab me the color tip in there? They're on the table.
yeah.
Yeah, so this isn't a replaceable like lead that goes through the pencil. There's nothing in the pencil. It's just this front. So this little thing unscrews, and I'm sorry if it's hard to see. So that's the lead, and it doesn't wear like normal lead, like go away super fast. It's supposed to last really long. Now these are brand new, so obviously I haven't used one for years. But and then the other thing is this pulls out, so that's not pressed in, and then you can put it backwards to protect your lead. So it does intentionally have these O-rings that you pop it off and you pop it in. And then these are the multicolor. So you can see these little guys screw in just like the graphite or the black lead. And then you can write with it. Here, let me grab a piece of paper. If I have a piece of paper.
I was surprised how it didn't wear like regular lead, but it looks just like regular lead, and it actually feels
Hello.
like regular lead.
Yeah, Amy was scribbling with it, and then she kept looking at the tip, like expecting the tip to be gone. But it just keeps going and going. It's weird. I don't know how it works.
And you don't sharpen it. You just use it, I guess, until, I don't know.
Right. You don't sharpen it. You just use it and replace it eventually. But it's supposed to last a long time. Now, somebody did give me years ago a pencil, and it was all molded out of that material. And it was an everlasting pencil. It was more like this size, though. And I still have it, and I've written with it a bunch, and it's now rounded over at the tip, but it still writes perfect. But whatever it is, they must mix some kind of hardener with, I don't know. That's above my pay grade. But they're pretty cool. So those are on there. If the multicolor leads aren't on there yet, they'll be up probably today or tomorrow. I've overloaded Carrie with new
Here.
things to list.
Will you hand me one of the finished ones with those? Oh, can I write with the colored ones? No. Yes.
Yeah.
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 I want to see if they're comparable.
Yeah, we'll do a little side video about that. How about that?
Darren says it's made by Willy Wonka.
They look like
Modeled
Willy
after
Wonka
the
candies.
Gobstopper.
Yeah, they really do.
Because
So,
it never goes away.
Amy said some people are asking for sweatshirts. Just like I said, they're going to be like $50, maybe a little less. Tell her your size. And if we go over, I can always add more. I just have to order a certain number. So that's why I offered. So don't get one if you don't want to, please. But if you want one, it's a cool opportunity. And you'll be in the elite club of just a few of us that wear them. What fun. So, back to it. I was saying, I don't normally like to have it this long, but let's take a look and see. Now, TBC, let me cover that real quick. What TBC is, it stands for turn between centers. And these are our centers. I have a dead center here and a live center here. And then I've got regular mandrel bushings right here. And then I've got this TBC adapter. And basically all it is a little shaft the size of a mandrel and then a 60-degree cone on the back. Now, some people might say, well, why can't I just put my regular mandrel bushings on the cone? You can, but you will eventually ruin, fairly quickly even, you'll eventually ruin your live center because you'll wear a groove into it and then you'll mess it up for everything else. So I don't recommend doing that, although people do. But this, having a 60-degree and a 60-degree, fits on there perfectly, and then the pressure is exactly dead center. So the reason I like TBC better than a mandrel when I can do it is I'm pushing perfectly centered versus a mandrel that I could push askew and bow or warp in some way. Now, is this perfect for everything? No, I'm sure there's certain scenarios you may not want it, but I do still use a mandrel all the time. I mean, this morning I used a mandrel for like 3 hours because I was using stuff that I didn't necessarily want to use my adapters for, and I didn't have TBC bushings, and it's fine. Slim lines, anything with a 7 mil that the bushings don't go in the tube, I don't use. I just use the mandrel, and it's fine. But in my experience over the years, TBC has been better quality. So you can get TBC in a lot of the most popular stuff, like we have them for Bolt Action, Cigar, the Junior Series, Monarch Sierra, several others, Arrow, maybe even Professor. But the adapters allow you to basically turn any bushings into TBC bushings. So it's a cool thing. We can go into that more in another time. But let's see what we were talking about here. Now, one last thing is, when I square my blank, if it's not 100% perfect, my bushing is going to sit in there crooked and thus try to throw my TBC bushing off. Now, the point is going to pull that bushing back, but that means I'm going to have play, and it could move on me if it's not. So this feels pretty solid, so actually that's a good sign. But yeah, it actually doesn't look too bad. When you first start it up, you can sometimes pick up a little wobble on here. And what's odd is a lot of times these will be perfectly spinning and these will be wobbling. Now, obviously with my bare eye, I can't tell perfectly if these are out of whack or not, but I can kind of get an idea if I see a wobble. So I see a little bit here, but I think we're okay enough to turn this. So let's go ahead and turn this. That's our kaleidoscope. And we'll make one of these kits here real quick. So, I'm going to throw on my power cap because this, the resin and the dust. Amy, I think you're okay over there. You're a ways. We'll talk about power caps another day. I think everybody should be able to hear me okay, even though this is on and running. Now I'm going to start with a negative rake square. It's a radius. And I'm going to turn my lathe up fast as it'll go. And I'm just going to kind of knock the outer round off a little bit. This is a round blank, so it shouldn't be much. But unless I drilled my hole perfectly perfect, whoops, Gotta lock my quill. So I hadn't locked my quill and my blank just stopped. So there, it's already pretty much round now. I mean, I drilled it on the lathe, so it was about as good as I can get it. All right, now I can come back with the negative rake. And keep in mind, these are scrapers, so you're gonna get a scraping cut, but we get these nice long ribbons. We make these out of aluminite. So I got a little bit of wonkiness there. And I can tell because of the way my cuts are. So let's see if I can find an example. Instead of getting a straight shaving, I'm getting a little zigzag, which means I have a little, either my blank wasn't perfectly square or my tailstock alignment to my headstock is off just slightly. It's not very much though, because if it was much, the whole thing would be wobbling as far as this blank is extended out. Now, feels like it's right there. I guess for this pen, we should decide if we want it kind of straight or if we want a little bit of a profile. How's that squealing? Is that loud on the camera?
We're talking in the chat about game changers. So adapters, total game changer. Zona paper.
Make sure you got the mic to you.
Total game changer.
Yeah, Zona is definitely, TBC is definitely.
Power cap, total game changer.
Yeah, I've gotten a few questions lately. People ask me if the power cap is doing well. Actually, you can tell right here. Like, this is how it looks every day. And I blow it off all the time because I'll use it to cut for hours and I'll have a lot of buildup here. It's still flowing well. It comes with a little flow meter. Very expensive, but in the long run, probably if I damage my lungs, it'd be even more expensive. And I will say, I am not easy on stuff, and this thing is doing pretty good. So I'm impressed as far as that goes. But I do wear this all the time. And other respirators, I've been reluctant because they're kind of a pain to put on and off. But this thing, literally, I put it on, I pull this little bottom down, and even with my glasses on, you turn it on and that's it. So it's really nice. And actually, in the summer here, it's even better because it blows cold air down my face. Oh man, it's nice in the summer. But ultimately, like, TBC and good polishing, it's all to improve quality of your work. If your work is better and stands out, that's always a good thing. And that's what we're always striving to improve. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit my bushings here on the back. And then I can shape this. Because of the way these pencils are so long, I kind of put a little hump on the other one, the Choya. And I kind of like a little hump at the back because you've got, plenty of room here, and then it kind of gives you a little look. But obviously you can do it however you want. Yeah, I got a little bit of... I'll have to check my alignment. That's what's giving me that weird noise. All right.
Roy, are you talking about the banjo? Like the tool rest? What are your tips for not bending a mandrel, Chad?
That's a good question. Tips for not bending a mandrel. I'd say the best thing you can do if you're using a mandrel is get a mandrel saver.
What if you have it and you're still bending the mandrel?
If you're bending the mandrel with a mandrel saver, I don't know how you could. You must have another issue if you're bending a mandrel with the saver, because literally the way it slides over to your bushing, like you've got a bunch of mandrel in the saver. This is, even though it's small, it's fairly rigid. You'd have to really be torquing it down, or you'd have to have some kind of an alignment issue to do that. So I would look around because you might have another issue. Definitely. Okay.
Hey, we got another question.
Yeah.
So some people, like Roy was talking about how when he works, he really likes to have the tool rest as close as he can get it to his work. And yours is quite a bit farther away. Do you want to just like talk about that?
Yeah, the tool rest distance. So in theory, or in practice, I guess, you want the tool rest as close as you can comfortably. But ultimately, the reason you don't want it further back is you'll get chatter, so it could be talking. So I might have actually been getting a little chatter from my tool rest being back, so that's a good point. And that's why it's good to watch other people turn, because you notice stuff like that. So I could have had a little chatter from that. I don't think so because of this material, but it could be. But yeah, you want the tool rest as close as you can, because you have to remember your tool rest is, or your tool is hanging over the tool rest. So the more it hangs over, the more potential it has for movement and for movement of the tool bouncing on the material. You know, that's where you get the chatter. So mine may have been a little far back, and that could have been some of that noise. I think it's my tailstock and headstock aren't aligned because I didn't true them up before we started. But you never know. So that's a good point, and that could be the case. Now, especially when you're turning like bigger stuff with a big gouge or something, you want that tool supported as best you can, because if you don't have it supported and you get chatter, you get a bounce, that'll lead to a catch, and that can make a whole other kind of mess. So good stuff, good questions. All right, so I am putting back these bushings, because if I don't put them in the bag, they're long gone. Now, I'm going to go ahead and sand this between centers. And here's another reason I like turning between centers. Wow, did I do that? Shaped it weird. Because I have my centers already up here, I can just put this in. Now, I want it snug, but not tight. If you over tighten it here, you're going to mushroom out your tube on the end, and your parts aren't going to fit right, and it's going to be loose. You can crack your blank. So do not over tighten this. I mean, usually I'll just kind of, and that's good. You can always snug it a little more if you need to. Another thing is I would really recommend blowing off your lathe and cleaning, but you know, live streams, we have to do certain things. I'm going to use my Lathe Buddy. Is that right, Lathe Buddy?
Yeah.
Not like the Battery Daddy, the Lathe Buddy. These are made by Marquetta and Roman. Roman was in the chat. I don't know if he is still. If you are, feel free to throw up a thing, Roman. These are like a terry cloth lathe mat that has a waterproof backing, and they have magnets in them so you can stick them to your lathe. See how it's stuck there? And then you don't get it all over, because you guys know I make a mess on the lathe. It's always rusty and stuff, but it actually has been fairly clean.
Just on the lathe?
Just on the lathe is where I make a mess, nowhere else in the shop. But the lathe has been fairly clean since I got my Lathe Buddy. I picked it up at the Penn Show in West Virginia, and we got to meet Roman and Marquetta, and they're really great. Zach is now using them on his show. And what's cool with the magnets is you can then stick it somewhere and let it dry. But it's a really great idea. So, anything else about the Lathe Buddy? I don't know. Oh, see, that's what you don't want, is to drop all that stuff into your water, which I didn't do, but I got close. All right, so why is this camera feel like it's backwards? There we go, a little better. We are going to wet sand this. We're going to start with some 600. This is just 600 wet dry. Probably a couple pieces will be more than enough. And I just want to get this flat. I want to get out any tool marks. You know, sanding is a fun thing to watch, so feel free to chat if we have any questions. I better turn my speed way down.
Oh, Charles just entered the chat.
Charles Stanley, black belt.
Yep.
Charles, welcome.
He came in late. He wants to know what kit you're turning. Are you turning another pencil?
Charles, you will be excited to know I'm turning a kaleidoscope blank. You can see it here. Look at the color in that thing. I turned a deadhead, which is one of these guys. Look familiar? The deadhead. And I'm turning these everlasting pencils, which have these replaceable tips, but they last a long time and they're pencils. They even have erasers. So that's where we are. You're up to speed. And you came for the most exciting part, sanding. You can see the white slurry on my sandpaper. That's the resin. And I'm just making sure I don't have any, remember I was talking about chatter and little wonky spots? I'm just making sure I don't have any of those.
What speed are you turning, Chad?
I am about 800.
And then for people who are asking about the lathe buddy, if Roman's still in the chat, he can let you know how to get him, but I'll also try and track it down and I'll pin it.
Yeah, so they don't have a website. You have to go through their Facebook. And if Roman is on here and can throw up his email or something, that'd be good too. But they're really worth getting because, you know, I always used to put a t-shirt down and that would only work so well because as soon as the t-shirt got wet, then my lathe would still rust. So it wasn't great. But these with the terry cloth and then the waterproof back, I find that they really keep everything dry. And this is a large, there's two sizes, but you can see it's sticking over on the sides here. Maybe you can see. Nope, you cannot see. Well, there you can see. So it's sticking out in the front, a few inches in the back. But I like that because I tend to slop water on both sides. So for me, this is the one I use most, but I do use the skinnier one when I'm doing rings and stuff because I'm not as messy.
Oh, I've got a email for them.
Email, okay, cool. Amy can give you the email. She'll put it in the chat there.
Okay.
And they're not very expensive. What were they, like $20 each or something? $40 for the pair, something like that.
I don't remember.
And I bought a pair, the two sizes. But it's worth it just to not have to clean my lathe all the time. Because I was really getting it wet a lot. All right. So that's our 600. That's probably good enough to jump to Zona.
We got a super chat.
Oh, how nice.
Thanks, AGK Woodworks. You rock.
AGK, thanks, man. Shout out to AGK.
All right, so here is...
Hey, speaking of AGK, I'm glad he is in here. If you guys don't know, so we just had our St. Jude. I'm sure you all know because we never stopped talking about it. And it went really well. You know, we had a lot of great supporters. Zach is a great supporter, and we watch his live stream on Saturday. And then Jake and AGK and Jamie over at Saturday Morning Cartoons were awesome supporters and helped us raise a ton of money. And now they are doing the Make-A-Wish stuff that they do every year. So if you have time Saturday morning, check out Jake Thompson's channel. I think it's just Jake Thompson. It's either Jake Thompson or Northside Crafts. But I think it's Jake. AGK could tell us. But they are doing awesome fun stuff all the time. But then they're also doing the Make-A-Wish stuff, and it's a really great charity. They're doing auctions for cool blanks. We're doing a gift card every week that they raffle off. And there's all kinds of other great prizes and stuff. So it's a lot of fun. If you have time Saturday morning, jump in on there. There's been a lot of people joining in, and it's a real hoot. I know I saw Myra there last weekend, but it's a lot of fun.
Roman's in the chat. He says it's $40 for the set plus shipping. And
40 for the set.
I pinned their email. So if you want to email him and Marquetta to get yours, you can email them at that email. They're also on Facebook, but I know everybody's not on Facebook.
Okay.
But.
Sounds good to me. All right. Very good, very good.
Roy's asking about the Mid-Atlantic. We're unfortunately not going to be able to go to the Mid-Atlantic. It sounds like it's going to be super fun, though.
Yeah, I had hoped for it.
The only show, we were kind of talking about this earlier, the only show that we're going to make it to this year is SWAT in August, which is a super fun, big show. So if anybody wants to go to that, we'll be there with Carrie again, me and Chad and Carrie. So that'll be fun. And yeah, that's probably the only one this year.
Well, heck, who knows? We might even have to take Mike.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be really cool to take the whole crew.
We'll have to see
that would
how it
help
goes.
me out because I want to get a tattoo by Rebecca while we're there. So that would offer us for me to get my tattoo.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah.
Yes, and totally go check out Saturday Morning Cartoons for sure. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so like, we're really thankful Jake and his crew and Zach, you know, are big supporters of Turner's, and we try to do it right back to them. So if you guys can do it, do it. And it's always a great cause. Make-A-Wish and St. Jude are both really good charities, so pretty neat.
Yeah, SWAT is so much fun. It is like such a good show.
Yeah, I'll say a lot of the shows are really fun. I mean, obviously we have a good time at all of them, but SWAT for the quality of like, there's great demonstrators, there's great vendors, there's great barbecue. It's 3 days long. It's for your money. It's a good bang for your buck.
It's cool. They have like a pen turning room and a bowl turning room.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really good one.
It's fun to see kids who come with their parents and they're like, meh, but then they go turn a pen and have a great time.
Yep.
The clubs sponsor it.
Yeah. So thanks for hanging with me here, guys. We're gonna get this done, and then we're gonna jump to another project because I think we have time. Amy, will you grab my pen press off the table?
Yeah.
Just make sure if the little bushings are on it, they don't fall off, the little black sleeves. You can leave them in there. So I'm just working through my Zona real quick here. These are the 6 colors. They go from green to white, 1 micron to 30 micron, or vice versa. And I think that's like 800 to 20,000 or something grit. So kind of a crazy range of finishes, but they look really good. You can just set it down here. Just push those tools towards me. There you go. Thank you.
Did you say you wanted the bushings or no?
No, I don't need them. This is a super easy kit to assemble because you only really assemble one end. All right, so let's see how that looks. See what y'all think. So I'm going to dab the water off here, but try not to put scratches. So if I needed to, I could give it a little extra polish. What?
Darren, we're not strangers. Nobody's strangers at SWAT, right?
No, SWAT is a lot of fun because you got time to hang out in between sessions, and then there might be a time where you don't necessarily want to attend a session, so you can just kind of hang out. And I'll tell you what, like last year we took a lathe. We didn't get a lot of demoing done at our booth, but we will this year. And like right around from us was Stuart Batty. He has like a legit setup doing demos the whole time he's not doing demos in a classroom. I mean, it's worth it just for that. It's nuts. Okay, let's take a look at that.
Yeah, and we're going to have some cool stuff going at our booth at SWAT this year.
Zach said he's going and we'll be doing demos, so.
That's awesome.
I mean,
so
that alone is kind of fun.
We'll have Zach doing demos. We have plans to like let people come try ring making, like a space for that. And then hopefully Mike comes from, not the UK, I was about to say
New Zealand.
UK. He lives in New Zealand. He'll be coming from New Zealand again, I think, to do carving demos. So we'll have a lot going on just at our booth.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool. So, let's see if I can do this without making a mess. There's our blank. Really cool looking blank. All right. Now this kit is super simple. We have the tip and we have the back end with the eraser. Now, I want to set this on the wood. Let's see if I can move this a little more.
Yeah, that's true. Jake did do Saturday morning cartoons from the Cactus Juice booth last year.
Yeah, from Curtis's. So this one presses on the front, so I actually don't even need to do anything with it. The back, I'm going to take the eraser out, and then I'm going to press this on. I'm going to go this direction. Boy, where do I want the clip? I like the whole thing.
Yeah. Darren's like, my wallet hasn't recovered from our 2 live streams with Charles about fountain pens.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, I can't imagine what going to a show would do. But I think, I don't know, for shows like that, you save up for a little while
you
before
prepare.
you go.
Okay, so that's it. Press the back in. This thing is super simple and pretty cool. And then it's ready to go. So that's the Kaleidoscope blank. This makes a killer kitless or tube. So obviously there's a tube in there. I don't think I did not paint the tube on this one. So that's opaque enough, although if I would say I'd recommend painting the tube white just in case you get any thin spots. But that's a really cool looking one.
Hey, so I believe the way that SWAT works, right? You can go into the vendor areas. You can walk into the vendor areas.
Yep.
You don't have to pay anything.
Nope.
You pay to go see the demonstrations / classes that are like breakout sessions.
Yeah, like the rotations.
Yeah. So we're going to have some cool demos like at our booth in the vendor area, and all of that would be free to just come in and see. But if you can and you have the funds, it's worth it to go take some classes because like Chad was mentioning Stuart Batty, it's amazing people who do classes there.
Yeah, they get like the best of the best demonstrators. That's funny because I demonstrated last year. So I mean like the top demonstrators. They also get some half-wit demonstrators, but they get a lot of good ones. So it's worth going to classes if it's something you're into. It's definitely more of a turning focus, not a pen focused. However, there's always a pen room now, thanks to Curtis at TurnTex, and there's always pen vendors. So last year there was a bunch of us there, so it was really cool. What do you guys think of this pencil? It's kind of unique and fun. And the blank, I think the blank is killer. Okay, I was gonna do something, I think fun, but maybe boring.
We're at 153.
Well, let's do this. I've got this piece of Cocobolo, and this is for another new kit. This is a crochet handle kit, and it's really cool, like orange and white and purple and black. But I was going to show you because I did one earlier. This someone thought when I took it next door that it was a CA finish. And I don't know that it's CA shiny, but it's pretty darn good. And I was going to show how I did that because it's kind of an alternative. And this being Cocobolo is why I wouldn't want to do a CA finish. I don't ever do CA on Cocobolo because it's so oily. It will eventually cloud or crack your CA.
What is the name of this kit? Everlasting Pencil?
Everlasting Pencil.
And Carrie said a little bit ago that she put it on the front page of the website too.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So I think the blanks are all up and the pencils are up and all that. So
do we have a starter kit for that yet?
Not yet. It's brand new.
Not yet.
Brand
like
new.
Hot off Carrie drafted and did the listing this morning because she is a badass. But we literally just got them in. But probably there will be a starter kit in the future because.
Yeah. So let's talk about finishing wood when we're not doing a CA on a pen. So this is Cocobolo. I'm gonna sand it real quickly with 600 dry, and I'm running the lathe like, let's see, 800.
Ralph asked, so the everlasting pencil body can basically be any length, correct?
It could be. You could totally make it shorter or longer, although that'd be real long. Whatever you want. So I sanded that on. Now I'm going to come back and hand sand because I don't want those rotary lines. I think that's what I see the most when people do wood pens is you can see their lathe lines from running the lathe while they're sanding, which is fine, but just go back and take a minute and sand with the grain. Now that's sometimes easier said than done with some of these crazy grains. But this one, even if I just sand by hand this direction, I'm going to take care of that, no problem. Yeah, that's kind of a cool point, Ralph, is that you could make that thing shorter if you wanted to. But it's kind of fun that it's so long because it shows so much of the blank. Okay, so I think this is looking pretty good.
I was like, how are you moving, but you touched the... It was funny because you were doing this, right?
Yeah.
But then the camera
I was moving it
I was
with
like,
the,
how's that happening?
I was moving it with my hand on the...
That's funny.
So I'm going to do that, and then just to get all the dust, you can see the orange dust.
Oh, that's a good idea, Ralph. He says shorter for me. I have lots of blank cutoffs that would work for a short pencil.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Good idea. Okay, now what I'm going to do, and what I wanted to kind of show, is I'm going to put sanding sealer on this. Now, I always keep my sanding sealer in a glass jar, but I had these cool little oil cans that if you pop the lid off, they're tapered so the stuff drips down. But I took this off earlier and I noticed, if you can see the like neon green around the edge, and then right there, I wiped this earlier, but it was like, I don't know if the chemical, like the sanding sealer fumes like melted the color, but it like took some of this green off. It looks like I hit it with a highlighter. I don't know if that...
How do you know it's toxic? Well, it melted the plastic.
See, it looks like I wrote with a highlighter. That's from the edge here, look.
That's crazy.
So I guess my point is, I don't think it's good to store sanding sealer in plastic. Now, it doesn't come in plastic. It comes in a metal can. So that probably should have told me something. But I'm going to try to use up the rest of this before I toss this container. But that was just something I wanted to share because I was like, oh, these containers are super cool and it'll all drip back down. But clearly not, because it got everywhere and turned neon yellow. Let's zoom in here. Okay, can everybody see that? Pretty cool blank. So I'm going to try to dab this without getting the edge. I don't want to turn my Coco Bolo neon. Now, you do not need much for a pen. This is probably more than enough.
Oh.
Look at that.
Marquetta's in the chat. Hey, Marquetta, what up?
Look at the color coming off from my sanding dust. I didn't wipe it with alcohol or acetone or anything. I should have. But this is sanding sealer, so I'm just trying to get my grains sealed. There's my two. Whoops, I'm not showing it. That's the first one, and that's the second one. So if I do it a third time, I should have less,
Gosh, that's
theoretically. Yep, less. That's the third one. So I sealed that. I'm going to let it sit for a sec. Now, we're in Arizona, and it is winter time, so it's very cold. I mean, we're talking mid to high 60s. So when it's this freezing cold, you might have to wait 10 seconds for your sanding sealer to dry. If you're back east, you probably got to wait a lot longer because it's even colder.
You're using Mylands, right?
I'm using Mylan sanding sealer currently. Now I'm going to do one more little dab, which isn't probably totally necessary, but Coco Bolo can have little like pinhole grains. So we got a second. I'm going to just put on another coat. Why not? But look at how rich the grain looks. And look at that whole nother bunch of color bleeding out of that blank. That's probably not dust as much as it is just pulling the color. But it'll seal the color because I'm sanding sealer. Okay. Now, I'm going to let that sit for 1 sec, and I'm going to grab my Yorkshire, whatever you want to call it, Yorkshire. I'm going to put a glove on, which is ridiculous, but I don't want to have to clean my hand off after this because I have been using these white Scotch-Brite, like the no scratch. Man, I like them. So I just put a little bit on here. I'm going to turn this on. Let me make sure it's dry. Oh, it's dry.
Someone was telling me online that they use their fingers.
So what's funny, and I'll show you this in just a sec, is I will use the glove because I can feel the grit and it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
So here, check this out.
And I was like, ooh, they must have smooth fingers.
I'm going to put this on, and then I'm going to go back and forth, and then I'm going to kind of leave it on there. And then I can put this back in here because I was just really applying it. And then with my glove, and this stuff is not, it kind of feels nice on your hands, but I can feel the grit through my glove here, and I'm going to speed it up. And I'll kind of get this slurry pushing around. I don't know if you can hear that on the mic, but it kind of sounds like gritty, like sanding. Must have got some in there, slipped it off. But you can kind of hear the sanding, and then it goes away. And I'm just slowly speeding it up as it goes. Now keep in mind,
Ann.
huh?
Oh, I was just saying hey to Ann in the chat.
Hey, hey. Keep in mind, this is not the way EasyWood tells you to do it, but I always say do what works for you. And this seems to work pretty cool. So then I'm just going to clean all this Yorkshire off of here. I don't know why I keep turning off a 4. You guys would much rather see the blank, I think.
Scott is asking, does the white Yorkshire grit get stuck in the pores of the Cocobolo?
You know, not that I've noticed. That's a good question. I haven't noticed either one does, but the reason I used it is because it's supposed to be smaller abrasive in the Yorkshire. So I wanted it, because I thought it in my brain, which often is not the best thing, I thought that it would be a better polish because it's finer grit, and I had sanded up to 600. So I don't know if you guys can see this, but it is crazy smooth like glass, and those normal little pinholes you get in Cocobolo are very, very hard to see, and normally I can always see them. So that's after the Yorkshire. Is AGK here? He can tell us, is it Yorkshire or Yorkshire? So that is pretty smooth.
But if he can only type it, how's he going to tell us?
It'll be hard to pronunciate over the typing. Now, that is not a finish. That is sandpaper. People will come in and be like, yeah, I use Yorkshire grit as my finish. And I'm like, but that's not a finish. That's sandpaper. So all I did was sand my sanding sealer with the Yorkshire grit. Now, this stuff is great for hybrids. I did this exact process on this one just a little bit ago, and I mean, it looks super awesome. So you could use either the original or the fine, but I kind of think for this, when I had sanded to a higher grit than the recommended, so like if I was only going to sand to 220 or something, I think you'd want to use maybe the original. But since this is a higher sand, I sanded to 600, and I used sanding sealer, I wanted a smoother polish.
Yeah, everybody's talking about how the sanding sealer should hopefully mitigate anything being down in the pits and the cracks.
Is that too bright? Yeah. I was trying to see if that would help. Now, this one you guys have heard me say a million times. I like the Mylands friction finish, friction polish, whatever you want to call it. I shook it up because it separates. You want to shake it up really good. You can even, shake it that way. But the key with this stuff is less is more. Now, I only want to use one drop at a time. Let me turn on my lathe. You want to make sure all that Yorkshire grit is off of there and it's clean. When you touch it, there should be nothing coming off. So one drop, literally. Oh, there it is. See the drop? And I'm going to work it in. And I'm going to work it about halfway with the first drop. Uh-oh. I slowed it down. And then I'll stop it halfway and I'll put a second drop on.
It's Yorkshire. Yorkshire. Am I
Yorkshire.
saying that right? Yorkshire?
Ah, Yorkshire. And then I'm going to do the second half. And I'm telling you, you can get such a nice finish with Mylan's friction finish if you do this. So now I've got a drop all the way across, and I'm just going to go back and forth. And I'm putting a little pressure because I want to build up some heat with that stuff. And you can literally see as you go across and the heat builds up, you can see the shine starting to come out. And I don't want to rub my paper towel on it anywhere dry, so I only am rubbing it where the two dots of finish are. And then I can even stop it and still rub it where those finish drops are. Now this is coat 1, so I wouldn't want to touch it this soon normally, but I want to show you guys here. This is coat 1. If you do this a couple of times over a day or two, you will get a glass-like CA-looking finish. Now, is it exactly? No, of course not, because you're not putting thick plastic on it. But I mean, the shine is phenomenal, and it's really durable. It holds up well. You know, you can handle it, that kind of stuff. So hopefully that kind of helps with woods like this that are really nice hardwoods that you don't want to put a CA finish on. Do people put CA finishes on Cocobolo? Sure, but eventually it will fail. It'll start cracking or crazing. It might even chip, but it'll get cloudy too. So not ideal, but really cool looking stuff. So if you haven't tried that, it's a good thing to do. And I mean, this bottle, these are 4 ounces. We sell the Mylans in the 16 ounce, but I mean, I've been using this for like 2 years, and a drop at a time, it doesn't go very fast. So don't buy the big one until you know you need it for like bigger projects, because 4 ounces will last you a long time.
How many coats did you put on?
I put 2 drops on, a drop on the first half and a drop on the second half, and then I went back and forth. This is 1 coat. I will probably do this 2 more times. I'll let this sit a couple hours, do another one before I leave today. And then in the morning, I'll probably do another one, and that'll be it. You can get away with 1 and it'll be fine, it'll last, but the more coats you do, you're building the finish. They call it high build on their can. So you are building the finish as you go, but you need a little bit of that heat to set it. So especially if you're in a colder climate, make sure you're giving it some pressure when you're applying it to get that friction going. But I mean, already it feels smooth and hard, but it's definitely not fully cured.
If you're in a brisk climate.
If you're in a brisk climate, yes. But really fun stuff.
Why not where the paper towel is dry?
Why not where the paper towel is dry? Because I feel like, again, this is just my theory, where the drop is and it's wet, so to speak, it's smoother. I feel like the dry paper towel is like sandpaper. Like, I don't even like to take a dry paper towel around my resins, because I feel like, even though it probably isn't scratching it enough to see visually, I feel like it's scratching it. And I just spent all that time on it. I don't want to scratch it if I can avoid it. So just my thing, my little quirk.
If it was warm out, would you be waiting as much time in between coats?
No, that's a good point. In the warmer weather, all of this is faster. Like in the summer here, because we're in a swamp cooled shop in the summer, sanding sealer, it dries in like 3 seconds. Like literally I wipe it on and it's dry before I can come back the other way. So it's almost hard to use because it dries so fast in the heat. Same with the friction finish. When it's warmer, it does cure faster. Now I still would wait at least like half an hour and then apply it, or even the next day, because I feel like the longer you wait, the more it actually cures, because it does have a curing element to it. Like it does harden over time. So if it's harder when you apply your second coat, theoretically you should get a better shine, better finish. Okay, look at that. Boom. All right, what do you guys think? Our first day back, hopefully it wasn't too boring. Finishing, sanding and finishing, the most boring thing you can do, I guess, other than hollowing, according to Emily.
Well, it's not as boring when that wood is so pretty. That wood is really pretty.
The wood is really nice, and that definitely helps, so.
Mara
Yeah.
says, she's laughing and she's like, I usually wait about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
She was like, I think I'm not waiting long enough. And I'm like,
Myra,
yeah.
you're very patient.
That is
30 seconds.
That is not long enough.
You could do it, but it's kind of like anything. It's like resin. Could you pour a resin blank today and turn it tomorrow? Yes, but you'll never get a good finish until that resin fully cures. Kind of the same thing with certain finishes. They have to cure up. So it does make a difference. All right, well, thanks everybody. Sorry for all the talking at the beginning, but thanks for hanging in with us. If you have questions, let us know. Hopefully, if you're nearby, you can make it to the open house demo day. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yes, Amy, what you got?
Yeah, just real quick here at the end. I have the folks down that I wrote down who want a sweatshirt. Scott, Kershaw, Darren, Mike, a.k.a. Homerlex, and Walt Archer. So if I missed anyone and you're here and you want a sweatshirt, let me know so I can write it down. But I think that was everybody who said they want a sweatshirt.
Mike Homerlex, you just bought a lathe, so yours is free. So if anyone buys a lathe in the next day or two, you can get a free sweatshirt. How about that deal?
Mike is also looking for a 39-inch blank.
What? So, thanks everybody. Thanks for always being awesome and supporting us. We really appreciate it. And we have got, I know we probably say this every year. I don't know if we said it last year. We were real tired. We've got a lot of great stuff planned for videos and live streams and stuff this year. So hang in there with us. It's going to be worth it, and it'll be really cool. We're going to get into some real fun stuff that's less common. But at the same time, we're also going to do stuff that you need to, like foundations, and you need to do good to make cool stuff. I just want to make more stuff. That's all I care about.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we had our little staff meeting yesterday for the first of the year, and everyone on the staff is going to make kitless pens this year in the near future.
Oh, you're saying it. Now it has to happen.
Should we do that on video? Should we do that on live stream? That'd be interesting. Because the first one is always a nightmare, but it'll be fun. All right. Thanks, everybody. Go turn something fun.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Bye.